She loved making sure everybody was okay. And she made sure that we had fun. Because our house was the party house. Now, she liked to throw a party.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to A Daughter's Inheritance. I'm glad you're joining us today. I'm excited about our guest today because we are colleagues and friends. Gail Miller, welcome, Gail.
Well, thank you. Appreciate you having me.
Gail works with me at the College of Professional and Continuing Studies, and she takes care of a lot of things, including our facilities. And I think you just left a whole group of 4th, 5th, and 6th graders in our auditorium.
Yes, right. About 50 kids.
Yeah, so it's summertime and a lot of those kind of camps and things are going on. So, a Starkville native, been here for your whole life?
My whole life, all my life.
Been at Mississippi State for 27 years. You said you started in dining services?
Yeah, it was catering in 99. Bridget Harding.
Sure.
Catering. She actually hired me.
Okay.
And so I started there 6 months, and then in January I started with continuing education. Teresa Stewart hired me as the secretary.
Yeah. We were talking about this podcast, and I said, hey, would you be interested in being a guest, talking about your mom? And I said, go listen to the first episode. It kind of sets the stage. You came in my office and sat down and said, Dr. Sill, you just opened up a can of worms.
Yes.
What did you mean by that? Explain what that kind of stirred in you.
As I was listening at a lot of the women talk about their mom and their relationship with them, and it got me to thinking, what do you know about your mom, Gail? What did she, a lot of things start to come to my mind. But really hit was, I was thinking, hey, I'm not the only one. You start thinking about things like that when you hear people talk about things they went through with their parents, their mom, or their dad. And you're like, I wasn't alone. Mm-hmm. And as we go through life now, we realize we're not alone. We just don't talk about those things because we feel like it's just me. Mm-hmm. But it also brought back emotions. My mom passed in November 17th of 23. And so that brought a lot of emotions back as well.
Sure.
Well,
I'm glad you said that it made you feel like you're not alone, because I think that's part of the purpose of this podcast. And I appreciate so much our guests like you who will share their story and be honest about it. Because most everybody I have on, they're like, well, I don't know if mine's going to be interesting. But it connects with people because mothers and daughters have the ups and downs, the good, the challenges, the funny stories, the hard stories, and they really do connect with people.
Exactly. Because I wanted to also step out of my comfort zone. Mm-hmm. And that's one of my challenges, is stepping out of my comfort zone, talking about certain things, because growing up, my mom, she, there were things you just didn't talk about. Mm-hmm. Or she didn't explain certain things to me. So I learned by just watching and not just her explaining things. So by watching her and my grandmother, and there's another person, her sister, Emma Gillespie, she was like my second mom. Mm-hmm. And so it was a difference with her. And she would say, okay, Gail. And she would explain certain things, but use it in a biblical way to help me to understand.
It's okay. We might get to some of those things we're not supposed to talk about, so y'all stay tuned, because that's going to be good stuff. What's your mom's name?
Her name is Mary Katherine Williams, better known as Miss Cat.
Miss Cat.
Yes. She graduated from Anna Laura Beauty School. She was a beautician, and she was a beautician for over 50 years until her health started failing. And she started her business. The one I remember is right where Dr. Douglas Connor, his office was. It was in a basement. Mm-hmm. She's sort of a jack of all trades. She didn't have any certain thing that she would like to do. She did Avon, she did Soul Flavor. It was just a lot of things that she used to loved to do.
Yeah.
But more so, she was, by being a beautician, she's sort of like a counselor.
Oh, sure.
A counselor, and she helped people through different difficult things. But one thing I remember about her is when her customers would come and say, "Miss Cat, I can't pay today." "Oh, girl, please, that's no problem." And she would just go when nobody know that that customer didn't pay. So later on that week, I would see them walk in the door. "Hey, Miss Cat, how you doing?" And they would stick their money in her pocket, and she just keep doing hair. She was that type of person.
Yeah, I think beauticians and bartenders are some of the best counselors that there are. So, tell me a little bit about her early life. Did she grow up here in Starkville as well?
Yes, she grew up in the community called Rock Hill,
Okay.
and that's where her mom, her dad started. Grandma, her mom was a homemaker, from what I remember, because she did a lot of quilting, and she was a community type person. Ladies, women would love to be at her house setting up the quilt, and so mom, what I remember is mom dropping us off at grandma's house and going to the beauty shop. She was a quiet mom. Didn't talk, she
Your
taught
grandma or your mother?
my
Your mother
mother.
was quiet.
Yeah, grandma, nah.
She
No,
wasn't
she wasn't
quiet.
quiet at all. Mm-mm. But mom was. A lot of things were unspoken, but her facial expressions. You know,
Your mother spoke loudly with her face. Is that what you're
yes,
saying?
that's what we were like
Uh-oh.
afraid. Oh, we did something wrong. We see that that eye squinch and her lips get really, really tight. Oh yeah,
You knew you were in trouble.
we were in trouble.
Well, I grew up underneath the quilt frame because my grandmother and my mother and all their friends, they put up the big quilt frame, and it was like a little tent. We'd get up under there, and of course, like you roll the edges the more you did, and it got smaller and smaller. But my cousin and I, Linda, yeah, we spent a lot of time up under the quilt frame playing tent and listening to their stories that they were telling.
That was a fun part because grandma, her house had three horses. I call them horses, but and then the long pole that rode
Like
the
the
thing.
sawhorses.
Yes, 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 and that's what the women would sit. It was like four on each side, and we would watch them quilt. And so finally, I said, "Can you show me how to do it?" And the little ladies would stop and say, "This is what you do, Gail."
You quilt now?
I found some of my mom's. Actually, I found a whole trunk full of her quilt pieces that she started that she never finished, and that was like a moment of oh wow.
So have you quilted them?
I hadn't started yet.
Okay.
That's not look on
It's
the
on your
to-do list.
I
Yes,
got you. I
yes.
got you. I got you. What was her growing up like?
I don't quite
Were they
remember.
did they live out in the country? Were they
Yes, they live out
city?
in the country. In the country, and during the time she was growing up, they walk to church. They walk. They had a dirt road. They would walk in the rain, cold, snow. But she grew up in like I say in Rock Hill, and the school she went to was Henderson, if I remember correctly, the school on the hill. But I don't quite know a whole lot about her growing up, no other than seeing pictures. I think my memory started when we used to live on Highway 25, and her going to beauty school, and then going to the beautician, going to work, and so. But
So she didn't talk much about her childhood.
no, I would hear things like from my cousins or my aunts. They would tell me a little bit about her, but it's nothing that I don't remember her as growing up as a little girl.
Yeah. Did she have a good relationship with her mom?
You
Or
know
do
what? That's a good question. I don't. Mom worked, and we stayed with grandma or my big mama. She was always she worked, and she was very, very independent.
Yeah. Well, you said when you listened to the episode about my mom,
Yeah,
that my mom
she
was independent too.
she was strong. She's very strong minded. And my dad, he was in one of the wars. I can't remember. So as I was taking his course, the veteran certificate, I learned that what he had was PTSD. And so it was a lot of things that happened with my dad and my mom, but she became a strong person in the family as because my dad was dealing with, that trauma.
Now you have two brothers.
True brother, yes.
Older, younger?
Younger, I'm the oldest and the only girl.
Okay.
My brothers Terrence and Reginald, and so we're like maybe 4 years apart. And growing up, I was the one responsible if things didn't get done. So I had to be the one that make sure we get chores and stuff done on Saturdays. If not, I would be the one getting in trouble. Yeah.
So you were a little bit of a mother figure to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did your parents meet in school? Where did?
You know what, Dr. Seal? I really don't know. I've seen pictures that have their wedding pictures, but I know they got married in 1963, March the 17th, on St. Patrick's Day.
Okay.
I don't know. They didn't talk about how they dated or how they
So
met.
they never talked. She didn't talk about her childhood. She
Not
didn't talk
much.
about their
No.
dating.
My mom she wasn't that person that discussed things.
Personal stuff.
Yeah, personal stuff like that. Yeah. And growing up, we didn't have those conversations. But I would see pictures of things that happened, but far as conversation about, hey, how me and your dad met, or how relationship with grandma, with her mom, and stuff like that. It was just that generation that didn't discuss things of that nature.
It was
like
on a need-to-know basis. We will tell you what you need to know.
Right, but she was always making sure that we were involved in stuff. That's one thing I remember growing up. She made sure I had band lessons, piano lessons. We went to Baptist conventions, all those things. My brother, she made sure that we were involved in things. And one thing about her, she never left her nieces or nephews out. If we went on vacation, it would be about 8 of us, packed in the truck, on the back of the truck with a camper, and she would take us to Liberty Land, Opryland.
Liberty Land,
Yes.
in Memphis.
Yeah, But she was a nurturer. She loved making sure everybody was okay, and she made sure that we had fun, because our house was the party house. Now she liked to throw a party.
Okay.
Yeah, party, and with daiquiri and all the other stuff. The kids go to the room, go in the back. And so we would be up around the corner trying to sneak. But
See, this is that stuff we're not supposed to talk about.
Hey.
Now, when did she go to beauty school? Was that before she got married or after?
That was after her and Dad got married. Okay. And I'm not quite sure if she was going to beauty school, but I know 1963 is when she got her cosmetology license.
How old was she then? When was she born?
Mom's born in 43.
I can do the math.
Mom's born in 43.
So she was 20 when she went to beauty school.
Oh, I am.
So she was young.
And so she got married in 1960. No, she got her cosmetology license
in 63.
63.
So
yeah.
She was 20 when she went to school.
Right.
So she had her own money. Because she was...
Mom, she used to... wait a minute. I remember she used to work for these people. Their house was on Louisville Street. Right there, I'm thinking right there at the corner where Crabtree, that white house, that pretty white house that they have now, it used to be a house there. And she used to work there. That's what she used to do before she went to beauty school. Now I remember. She used to work at a house there. So I'm not sure if she was working there and going to school.
So growing up in Mississippi in the 50s and 60s, you don't know, did she ever talk about, was that a tough time, any challenges that she faced?
During that time, I remember when we would go to the dentist, we would have to go in the back. But Dr. Long, and we went to this clinic, we would always have to go in the back, but I didn't know why. She never explained why we were going on the side instead of the front and things like that. Until I got older and she was talking, she said, Dr. Long is the first dentist that stopped us from going on the side for appointments. And I'm like, I didn't know that. Little things like that she would talk about. She didn't talk about the hardships of growing up during that time.
And there were some.
Yeah, because she never did. She just explained why. But she didn't show any anxiety or emotions about during the time.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know if I've told you this, but I grew up in Philadelphia, Mississippi. And when we would go to the movie when I was a kid, there was the window there where we would buy our tickets and we would go in. And then there was a side window where, of course, we had the Choctaw Indian Reservation. And so the Native Americans and black people would buy their ticket on the side and go upstairs. And I was like you. I didn't know why. I remember saying one time, well, I want to sit upstairs, not understanding really what was going on, that we were the privileged. I thought, well, they get to sit upstairs.
Now,
It's just different how you see things at different ages.
Because the same thing as State Theater. We my friends and I would go to the movies. I can't remember what we paid, but I remember going upstairs, and that's where we watched the movie. In some places, we just knew not to go. They didn't. They just said, "No, you don't go there." Yeah. But okay, we didn't question. Back then, we didn't question if they tell us something. We didn't question why. We just followed direction.
You obeyed your parents?
Yes.
When they said, because you didn't want to get the look.
No, I didn't. The look or the whoopings. Yeah.
So tell me about your mom's your business. You were telling us a little bit about it.
It was Williams Beauty Salon, and her first shop was down in Dr. Connor's basement. There, I had a lot of mothers that raised us, taught us when she would be doing hair, they would be helping us with homework. And so Mama, she didn't have a set schedule. Everybody knew if she said, well, be there at 10 o'clock. If Mom didn't feel like it, she'd get there at 10:30, 11. But her customers would faithfully sit and wait, and then she would work like 12, 1 o'clock at night.
She would get it done. It just might not be on the
and
time
they were patient with her. They understood. And like if she said, I'm not feeling well today, Katherine, go lay down on the couch. They'll make her lay down on the couch, and she would rest by the hour. They would sit there and wait. And she would get up and fix and start again. And so there's quite a few older ladies, probably in their 80s, that still remember saying, I taught you how to read, Gail.
Oh, yeah.
Her business, she had a lot of clients. And so she moved from Dr. Connor's office to, it was Highway 25, her and my cousin Teresa. And then she moved to the house on Jackson Street, next to the Methodist Church, until that's where she stopped right there when her health started failing her.
You had a good childhood growing up underneath the quilt at your grandmother's house.
Yeah.
and at the beauty shop.
Yeah, I did. And that's being around women, which, I would call mom, because they helped raise, and quite a few of them helped me through school. And so I had a great relationship with Mom as far as her action spoke louder than words. Mm-hmm. She would show the way she acted, but I paid attention what she did do and what she didn't do. But for her sharing verbally, Mom, I don't remember.
Did she teach?
Mom,
teach you things? Mm-mm. It was the other women that taught you things.
Yeah, Mom, she would help me, but it was more so she was working and her cousin was teaching.
Okay.
Doing, helping all me and my brother with homework.
So it was a real community.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
which I think we miss some. We don't have that community as much as we did then.
Nowadays, you can't discipline somebody as child without getting upset. Back then, you would either get the eye or you get a pinch, but you knew to follow direction. Be obedient. Growing up.
Well, and I think those other women in our lives are important. I mean, I think back the women that I grew up on the Fork Road, and there was women that went to church, that were homemakers with my mother and grandmother, that they were important people in my life.
Yeah.
For a long, long time.
Right. And a lot of people wasn't our family or cousin. We would say Cutting Ruth, Cutting Emma, and we're like, how they be Cutting? So it was a lot of names that everybody was cousin or auntie. Nowadays, that's missing, especially for our young ladies. They don't have that. I hate they don't have that nurturing that we had growing up, because it helps to shape how you carry yourself. And those women that were in that beauty shop and my mom helped shape me where I act, where I carry myself.
How to become a young woman.
Yeah. And so my mom was I call her the beauty queen, and her sisters, they would wake up, cleanse their face, put their makeup on. And her oldest sister, she always wore lipstick and put her house coat on. She didn't go to work. She just,
But she put her makeup and
yeah,
stuff on.
she had her makeup on. And my mom, when she goes out, it was a group of them in a beautician club. It was called Mississippi Beautician Club. Those women, when they dressed, oh, they were on it. And one funny thing about my mom just came to mind. She was scared of water. Even crossing the Pontchartrain Bridge, she hated it. But I found a picture of her and one of her friends on the beach on the coast in they swimsuits.
And you were like, wait a minute.
I thought mom was scared of water. But now when she was out with the girls, I guess it was a whole totally different story.
Maybe she didn't go in the water. She just stayed on the beach.
Yeah, she was in the water.
Oh, she was in the water.
She was in the water, and that's what surprised me. And she was sitting down, the water was flowing. I'm like, look at Miss Cat.
See, I think there's some things you don't know about your mother.
Probably
she
so.
did some things.
Yeah, probably
She's
so.
like, Gail does not need to know that. Was she a serious person? Was she funny?
Mom, she could be funny depending on the situation. She would laugh and joke with the customers. And, she would have us laughing, especially during the party time.
But yeah, after those daiquiris, I bet she was funny.
Mostly she would be in the kitchen making the homemade ice cream, and the kids would be running around, and she did a lot of laughing. She joked a lot, and I feel like mom was she had I guess say a hidden something on the inside that we really didn't know about for us, her funny part in doing, but for her to be the party, want to party, and she loved playing board games. Our house is full of board games. Pokino was one of her favorite.
Pokino.
You never heard Pokino?
Uh-uh.
Oh yeah, we played with I guess it's sort of like poker maybe, but it was also it's like four corners. Then you have four of a kind, three of a kind. But we played little red chips, and we had a jar of pennies, and we played with pennies. And once the game was over, everybody put the pennies back in the jar. But it was called Pokino.
Okay. Huh. I am not familiar with that. That is something that I've learned. Were your brothers also? Were they at the beauty shop?
Oh yeah, my
So
brother. Yeah,
they dropped.
Yeah, they were there until they moved out, went to school and stuff. But yeah, all three of us was raised.
Did she treat you differently than the brothers?
They got away with a lot.
No, brothers do, don't they?
I don't feel like she did, but there was, I guess, certain things that she expected me to do. And then my brothers, I would say they probably got away with a lot of stuff, especially my baby brother. Mm-hmm. He probably got away with a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You mentioned your dad, and he had PTSD. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit, because you were telling me a little bit about that. Tell me.
Yeah, my dad, his name was Elijah. Remember, he was in the Army, and he actually signed his mom's name because he wasn't old enough. Okay. That's what I was told, that he signed the form whatever to get into the Army. And so I can't remember how long he was there, but once he got the Army, he went to electrician school in Kentucky. And so he was up there for a while and got his certification. He came back and had Williams Electric Service. And he was also a teacher at Starford High School in the VOTEC. He taught electrician. Mm-hmm. And I remember after school, I would ride the bus and be dropped off at the VOTEC Center. My dad was 6'4".
He was a big
tall
guy.
Yeah, he was tall and slim.
Was your mother tall too?
Oh, my mom was 5'2". Mom was short. Yeah, mom was really short.
See, that used to make me mad. I was a tall woman, and I'm like, all the tall men like the short women. That's just not right.
Yeah, but Dad, he taught electrician, maybe a year or two at Starford High School. Then that's when he started his own business. And I remember, I don't know if he part owner of the service station that's on Highway 182 in the corner of Douglas Corner, right from the jailhouse. There used to be a service station right there. And it was a Gulf, I can't remember, I know it was some Gulf service station that was there. So he ran a service station for a little while.
How did the PTSD manifest?
It started from him being in the war. Mm-hmm. And because a lot of noise would make him, he would react to certain noises. Then I feel like the alcohol sort of him having that sort of played
He
a
started
part
drinking
in,
to kind
yeah,
of soothe and
right, yes. And so, but he was still sharp. I would get tickled. He would be drunk, but he could still tell me how to wire something.
Okay.
My dad was smart. He numbers. He was a numbers person. So, but I think a lot of his started from being in the war at a young age.
And it made the family life
It was,
difficult.
yeah, because it would make me nervous because I didn't know, what was going on.
Because he would go off.
I mean,
He
he
would
would
get
just
angry or
he would get angry, but he would never hurt anybody. He was just that angry feeling that I think sort of triggered a lot of stuff like that.
now you told me that your mother put him in his place though.
Oh yeah, she did. I'm not gonna say he did something, but after that incident, nah,
She
she put her foot down.
she was a strong. She said,
Yeah,
"We're
she
not
put her foot
we're
down.
not doing that."
Yep, we not going there.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, good. So she was a strong woman for sure.
Oh yeah, she's very strong. She can be demanding at times. Either it was her way or no way. And so when I had Joshua, I was 21. So she made me stay at home. And so you're not going anywhere. You can't. You got to do this, this, and this. All I said was yes, ma'am.
You were talking about earlier before we started recording that you made bread this morning,
Yes.
and that was her
Mom,
recipes.
she would work. No, no, it wasn't her recipe.
Okay.
There was one thing about Mom. She would work at the beauty shop, and then she would come on. We would make jelly. That was one thing that I look forward to. We made homemade jelly, grape and pear jelly, and so she actually showed me how to make homemade jelly and jam, and then she baked bread. So Mama, she did a lot of baking after working. I don't know how many hours at the shop, but she didn't. She just came home, said, "Okay, we finna start doing this."
Did she do the? You said your grandmother was a homemaker.
Yes.
Your mother had a job, full-time job, but did she still do the domestic stuff? Cooked and did all the stuff that you got to do, right?
Yes, she did.
She a good cook?
Oh, yes, she was.
What was her specialty?
Oh wow, Mom did a little bit of everything.
Is there
Okay.
something that you make that's hers?
I made her banana bread. I found the recipe that she had for her banana bread, and I tried the friendship bread, but I haven't quite mastered that yet.
It didn't taste like hers.
Nah.
There's some secret ingredient that she didn't tell you about.
Exactly. She had this recipe for the homemade ice cream and the custard. I'm trying to find that recipe, but she made the best ice cream custard. And we would sit when she make the custard. We all sit and take turns using the ice cream maker. The hand cranker. Yes, yes.
Well, she had all those kids over visiting, so y'all could all.
Yeah, we all had to take turns. But she loved her nieces and her nephews. She also would open her house to cousins that needed some place to stay. Our house was when people come into town, they would stay with us, and if somebody needed something, she was always there to help. I know that's where I got a lot of the way I act. Want to
service
help
heart.
people. Want to help people. Try to put a smile on people's face. She was that. She did that a lot.
Because you do that at work. So all the little stuff you do at work, the smiley faces and the fun things that you do, was that kind of from your mom?
Yes, just in a different way. She did, especially when it comes to people that are maybe having a hard time. She was always that person that they would call. We didn't have much. We didn't grow up with much. But to me, we had a lot.
You had plenty.
Yeah.
Was she involved in the church?
Oh, yeah, Mom. Yeah, she was the missionary president, and she started selling flavor to bring in funds for our missionary. And back then, they had missionary meetings at home, at each other's house. And so she was the president of that, and she was a deaconess because my dad was a deacon of our church.
You were talking about that she did Avon.
Yeah, she did Avon. She did, I can't remember, it was she sold Tupperware.
Oh, Avon. Well, of course she did. Avon Tupperware. In the first episode, I talk about one time we had to hide from the Avon lady because we didn't have any money to pay for the stuff that we ordered.
But yeah, she sold Tupperware and she sold flavor and
I don't know what flavor is.
it's called Southern Home Flavoring, and she started doing that to bring in funds for our missionary, for the women's missionary, and I still do that now
Like,
because
what is it flavor? Like,
vanilla,
oh, like vanilla. Okay, I got you.
yeah, vanilla, almond, and so people would call after she passed. She said, "Gail, I really hate to ask you, but do you
Your
still have
mother's.
some of that flavor?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am, I do." And so every Christmas I place an order because I still have older people that ask for that flavor.
When she got older, she lived with you.
Yeah, when mom, our house right next to each other.
Okay.
Her house and then my house, not right next door, a couple of feet away.
For how long? Like after you got married?
We moved into where I live now in 74. I got my house in 92. So I wasn't married. When me and Tracy, I had the house before we got married. So we were just right next door to each other.
My mother lived next door to her mother, which is good sometimes, but it's a lot of togetherness, which sometimes with mothers and daughters can also make for challenges. How did y'all get along?
We got
Did
along
you?
fine. That was one thing. She never interfered with. She was in her house and I was in mine.
She didn't get up in your business.
Now, unless I went to her and said, "Hey, mom," I don't. One time, my feelings got hurt, and I went to her crying, and the only thing she did was put my head on her lap, and she just pat me on my back. She just said, "Baby, it's gonna be all right." That was it.
So she was encouraging.
Yeah, that was it. But far as our household was separate. She would come over and we'd watch TV and things like that. But we didn't have any issues. Living next to each other.
You were her caregiver for how
Yes,
long?
Mama, she had her first aneurysm in 90s. I can't remember, 93, 94. I was a manager at Popeyes in Columbus. And so when it happened that night, she fell, and me and my brothers were scrambling around. One brother, Terrence, he was a minister. He said, "I'm going to the prayer closet." And me and my brother, Reggie, I called 911, but it took him forever. And so we put her on a blanket, and I had a Mitsubishi Galant hatchback. We put her in the car and met the ambulance halfway up the highway. They got OCH, and then they transported
Tippecanoe County Hospital.
to Columbus. That next morning, they couldn't find a trace of anything. And she had us cracking up. She said, "Yeah, you was over there screaming and Terrence said he was going to the prayer closet and you was doing this." And she was telling us everything we were saying. She said, "God just tried to tell me to slow down. That's all." I mean,
So she wasn't conscious at the time, but she knew it was going on, or she was conscious.
her eyes and stuff were closed, but she could hear
But she
everything.
knew what was going on?
Yeah, she heard everything we were saying. And that was so weird to me. But, and like she said, God was just trying to tell her to slow down because they couldn't find a trace of anything, no blood clots or anything. They had dissolved. And so that's what started. She would have later on in the year, she started having little small mini strokes. And so her health started failing. And then Tracy and I would stay at the house with her because I wanted her to be in her house. But then it sort of got kind of hard trying to care for her in my house. So, later on when her illness started progressing, we moved her into our house. Dementia is really a illness that can change everything. It changes how that person reacts because to me they were going backwards. And I think the one thing that really hurt me and really it took me a while and I had to pray and ask God to help me with this. When she would say "mama" and I would say, "No, I'm Gail." And when she would want something, she would say "mama." And it took me a while just to understand that wasn't her. You know, she was repeating what I was saying to her because I would say, "Mama, what you need? Mama, this." And so I realized in her brain, it was beginning to sink in that mama, when I say mama, she would say mama. So that was one hard thing when the illness started progressing.
How long was that?
To keep it short, it was July of 2022. And her doctor told her that she had the peripheral artery disease. With that and the dementia, it was not less than 6 months.
6 months that she had
Yeah.
dementia.
And so the doctor wanted her to live a quality of life and not be where she's in pain or, from surgery and stuff. But those 6 months made me take the time to appreciate her presence, you know. And she still laughed. To me, her mind was still fine at some point.
It would kind of come and go.
Right. But one person that she always asked for was Ken, the baby. He would get in the bed and she would say, "It's my baby." Or she'd say, "Where's my baby?" And so Ken would lay on her stomach and put his head on her chest. And that made her feel
Comforting to her.
Yes, yes. Then towards the end, I could tell when she was me and my cousin could tell that she was transitioning to her next life. And I was glad that I was there because when she did take her last breath, I didn't have any anxiety. At that time, I didn't cry. It was just like, it's almost a shame to say there was a relief that wasn't on my shoulder anymore. Cause
and she was relieved.
Yes.
Of that as well. When did you start painting?
That was my outlet when Dr. McKibben said, "Okay, Gail, you got to find a way to keep yourself together. You have to pull away. Once you make sure your mom is okay, you have to find something to take care of yourself." So I started looking at YouTube. I'm like, I can do that. And so I started buying paint. I guess poor Tracy. I started buying paint, and so I started doing the abstract art. And that brought me peace. And I was able to pull myself away from taking care of her. And so I call it Beautiful Wings Inspirational Ministry. Just caregivers' creative art. And so I believe a person that's having to take care of somebody, you have to pull yourself out of that environment. And you can get a paint, a small table, a canvas, and some paint, and just do whatever, because it's free. You can do whatever way you want to. There's no restriction. Oh, you can't put this color together. You can't do that. You can't draw this. But it also relaxes your mind, and then it it was comforting to me.
And you can express yourself.
Yes. Gail, you gonna sell your painting? I'm like, no, I don't want to, because my office is decorated with all my paintings.
Yes, it is.
And
they're beautiful.
And so that helps me when I get that, when she falls in my heart, and tears start falling. So,
what makes you laugh when you think of her?
Mom, she had this, when she get angry, you would not understand a word Mom was saying. It would be, I couldn't even tell you. And when I think about that, I catch myself, "Gail, you're talking like your mom." And Trey's like, "What you say?" Never mind. But that was funny to me when she really get mad at something and she get to talking and carrying on and she'll cuss, and I wouldn't understand what she was saying.
And so when you get mad and you do that, it kind of pulls you back, right?
Yes,
Because you're like, "Oh, I'm sounding like my mother."
Yeah, and I stop. "Okay, Gail." I've tried to be conscious of things like that now, because I'm like, you sound like your mama. And
yeah, we all have those moments. Your family. Tell me about those.
I have one son. That's Joshua. He's 42. And I have 5 wonderful grandkids. And the baby's Ken. That's my little heart now. And so they all call me Gigi. And so everybody at work
People at work call you Gigi too.
Yeah, Gigi. But yeah, Morgan, she will be going to Holmes Community College on a basketball scholarship. Her twin brother, Maddox, well, we're not quite sure what he's going to do. Yeah. And Keyshawn, he plays basketball for the Junior Jackets. He'll be in the 9th grade. Then little Ken, he's 8, going on 28. So he's an expressive grandchild. "Poppy, you didn't do that right." Or Gigi, why you let Poppy answer your phone? I said, he can answer my phone. No, he cannot, Gigi.
Giving you some
That's
correction.
that's your phone. I said, okay, Ken.
What kind of grandmother was your mother?
Oh, she loved her grandkids. She enjoyed doing things with them, and she enjoyed going to. My brother lives in Georgia, and one brother lives in Maryville, Tennessee. So she enjoyed the time that they would come pick her up and take her. She spent weeks in Tennessee or.
So she would
in
travel
Georgia.
some.
Oh yeah, she was a traveler, and I think I got that from her too. Well, probably most of my brothers, they love to travel too, and so she would take us places. Like say for instance Tracy, his family, they didn't travel, so he's never been to St. Louis or Chicago. So mom would take us. We would go to Chicago, St. Louis. We've been on the coast a lot, Biloxi, a lot. Yeah, she loves. That was one thing she also liked to do was to travel.
All right, so I want to close with this. When you look at yourself and you think of something that you're proud of in yourself, is there something that you attribute to your mom?
Yes.
That you're proud that, I do that like my mother, or I got that from my mom.
Oh yes. She liked to do homemaking stuff. So baking and cooking and making sure the family's fed, especially for breakfast. That was one thing, and I can't stop doing it. She would make sure every morning she fixed us a full breakfast. And I do that. I was doing that with the grandkids, and I do it with Tracy. He'll say, I'm not hungry. But I just had that urge. I have to fix breakfast every morning. And when I do that, I think about her. And then towards the end, each morning, we had this thing together. I would make coffee. She would drink half a cup, and I would drink half. That's the thing I would remember the most as she was transitioning. So I could do cake decorating, painting, gardening. It's just a little bit of everything. And that was mom. She
Creative things.
Yes, yes. And so that and caring for people and want to see people smile and wanting to help people that may be less fortunate than I am.
Well, knowing you like I do and working with you, I see those things in you. Those making people happy and making people smile. It's neat to see that there's a thread there that came from your mom. One of the things that I always close with that my mother said in a note to me was be patient, be kind, and be fair. And you said you have a mantra also.
Yes, kind words plus a smile equal a happy heart.
Thank you for being here and doing this and sharing your story.
Thank you for bringing me out of my comfort zone.
And thank you, listeners, for joining us. I hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did. Be sure and subscribe to A Daughter's Inheritance. And don't worry, subscribing doesn't cost anything. It just lets the app know to notify you when a new episode comes out. And you do not want to miss the next story. Anyway, thanks for joining us today. And as we just said, be patient, be kind, and be fair. And Gail, what was yours?
Kind words plus a smile equal a happy heart.